Good evening. Good evening and welcome to Talking Songs with me, Roland Jones. And tonight, Lee McClare is unfortunately wasn't able to do tonight. He's not been well. So at the last minute, Jake is offered to come in and have a chat with me. So Jake Dixon from the Hiding Magpies is going to be joining us in a bit. But before that, I'm just going to play you a tune. And this is called Don't Play With Fire. You think he's dangerous, you think that's good. You want to tame him, you thought that you could. Well, you should run away, but you won't. Stop yourself, but you don't. Don't want to get it, so don't play with fire. Don't play with fire. You believe you'll find the real him, but what you see is what you get. It's what it says on the tin. Well, you should run away, but you won't. Stop yourself, but you don't. Don't want to get it, so don't play with fire. Don't play with fire. No, you shouldn't play with fire. No, don't play with fire. The things ain't going so easy. He hurts you and makes you cry. He says he's so sorry, so you give him just one more try. But you should run away, but you won't. Stop yourself, but you don't. Don't want to get it, so don't play with fire. Now love doesn't always end easy. All big teeth and big smiles. If this one don't turn out so good, to me it won't be no surprise. But you should run away, but you won't. Stop yourself, but you don't. Don't wanna get hurt, so don't play with fire. Don't play with fire. No, you shouldn't play with fire. Please don't play with fire. 'Cause you should run away, but you won't. Stop yourself, but you don't. Don't wanna get hurt, so don't play with fire. So, welcome to the studio. Ooh, where we go? Mr. Jake Nixon. Dixon. Didn't I say Nixon? One of the two. How are you doing, Jake?
All right, buddy. Hey, that was great.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm still thinking about the chat. We always have a little chat beforehand, and the problem is to try and stop us doing it before we actually go live.
We'll be here for hours.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It happens every time, and I say, no, I mustn't do that. Because I end up asking people questions, and so we end up chatting. Anyway, we were talking about Rickenbackers beforehand. Yes, affection for... Actually, would work well on a jangly Ricky, that, wouldn't it, that song?
It would, yeah. Well, I was just about to say, yeah, 12 string.
Yeah, drop D.
It'd be lovely.
Oh, 12 strings. Oh,
yeah.
God. I used to, when Mike and I used to play in a band together, the front guy used to play acoustic guitar and keyboards. But he
Nice.
he had 3 12-string guitars,
Wow.
all in different tunings. And bear in mind, this is the 70s when we didn't have electronic tuners. So we do a sound check with him on keyboards, and then we'd go to the bar and he'd leave him there for like 25 minutes to tune his 3 guitars. He was like, oh, God. So yeah, I'm
Sounds like me.
I'm a bit phobic now about 12 strings. Anyway, Jake, right. Where did we start? Where did you start playing guitar and writing songs?
I started writing probably when I was about 15, and I picked up a guitar, and it was a friend of mine, Rahul, who I've wrote songs with in the past, and he was a high school friend, and I first met him when I moved. I went to a couple of secondary schools for whatever reasons, and anyway, I met Rahul, and he had some songs. And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool, And he was big into the Beatles, and I was like, but he were writing songs that were really cool songs with nice chords. And I thought, oh well. And at the time, I was a bass player. I hadn't really picked up a guitar, so I were playing bass at night from the age of 9 years old onwards. And and then I picked up the guitar, and I just it's sort of a kind of
that's quite unusual that, because. I mean, I know loads of people who started off playing guitar and then changed to playing bass, but I don't know anybody who started off on bass and then...
Yeah, well, for me, kind of when I first started playing acoustic, because I didn't go to electric straight away. I didn't have an electric. I just had a Tanglewood that my dad had in the kitchen,
right?
And it was always there, and so for example, like I'd always try, when I were working with chords, I'd always go. And play the bass, try and play the bass line and the melody, because I'm a Chet Atkins fan as well. And for when I first started playing guitar, I was listening to more guitarists' music, if you will, like Chet Atkins and that sort of that sort of stuff. So, and then the songwriting I think came from listening just to bands like the Beatles, Bob Dylan, traveling George Harrison, traveling Tom Petty, all them, the Byrds. So, and I always loved. Messing around with ideas and that, and then I think once you get a little bit older and you have something to say, it's kind of that's it's. I'm only 12, so it's
but interesting
hard life. Yeah. So that's kind of where it all came about, really. Just messing around, and then you have your heart broken for the first time, and so you write a song about it, and whatever it may be. So
excellent. What are you going to start off with? Sing the tune.
Well, I'm going to play a song called "Forgotten Town." It's about the town Colne, and it's like it's kind of a metaphor for anyone really. Does I relate to music in it, but it's kind of you could be an electrician or a plumber or a plasterer, and you want to get out of this town. It's a great town by all accounts, but there's a world out there. Another world out there. So this goes like this. It's called "Forgotten Town."
Got 2 cigarettes in my pocket and no money in the bank. Well, it's hard to live out what you do when it's all that you have. Some people call me lazy, but they don't know all the time we put into this, and the only come to see the show. Oh, the same, well, I'll keep hanging on. Well, now here I am in my hometown, singing the then we'll do it well. Counting us, we'll get it done. Oh, the same, but I'll keep hanging on. Well, here I am in my hometown, singing the same old song. So won't you listen to my story, help me work things out. There's no break for the young man if poor God in town. There's no break for the young man if poor God in town. Yes, there's no break for the young man if poor God in town. Got 2 cigarettes in my pocket and no money in the bank. Well, it's hard to live out what you do when it's all that you live.
Nice.
Hey.
Nice. Excellent. Your level kind of leapt up there. Sorry.
Oh, right, no worries.
You were breaking up a bit.
All right, no worries. Yeah, I'll just move away from that old microphone.
It's the adrenaline, you see. It's what we were talking about before, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it.
Once you start playing,
That's it.
It's
It's
all
all
the same, isn't it? You know, like you talk to any sound engineer, particularly us guitarists, we're the worst. You do shape, you know.
Yeah.
And you start playing, it's like,
That's it.
the
Yeah.
drummers hitting twice as hard and everything else.
That's it. Yeah. Well, that's it. Yeah. It's I think that's the thing because I recently I've just been attempting to record a bit of an EP at home, and when so the Magpies, we recorded our second record late last year, early into this year, and I know that when you've got the guys around you, it's like, the adrenaline's there. But when you're doing it all like I've recorded it in here, this solo record, and it's like you have to find that adrenaline from somewhere, But when people are watching, that's it. Sometimes it either makes you play better, or sometimes it can throw everything off.
It's a funny one. I recorded an album by accident this year. Because what happened was that I was doing a solo spot at the Blues Festival down in Skegness in January. And I took a little stereo recorder with me and asked the guys on the desk if they'd record the set for me, and to split it off into 2 separate channels, so 2 discrete channels, guitar and mic. And after the gig, I brought it home and I had a listen to it, and I thought, quite like that. And so I took it in the studio with just to put a bit of a shine onto it and to master it, and it's come out. I'm really pleased with it. But I think one of the things is that because I wasn't thinking about recording, I actually did it sort of completely relaxed and without worrying about because sometimes the red light nerves. However long you've been doing it, you still get
Well, that's it. And to be fair, it's for me when I've recorded this solo EP that I've done. It's like if I'm not happy with it, I've got the flexibility to just go right, do it again. Start anew. But when you're in the studio and you've paid someone the time, and you do feel that clock ticking, and you're going, oh, please just get it. But and you've played these songs so many times. That's the thing. It's it's crazy. It's bonkers.
It is. But the funny thing is that one of the reasons, I mean. Apart from that, on the previous 3 CDs I did them in the studio. And my reasoning for doing that is that if I'm working on something at home, I will fiddle with it and fettle it, and I'm never happy with it. It's never finished. Whereas if you're in the studio, you've got X amount of days to do it in. Yeah. Then that's it. And also you've got somebody else's ears with you as well.
That's it. It's always good to have someone else's ears on the job. If you've got what you've got in mind, then you're quite confident that it's going to work. But sometimes I think it's just with when you're recording a record. I'm not saying I'm the voice of experience, but I've been in the studio a few times now to know that listen to the guys producing it, if you will. You know, give him, you know, and you've got to trust that sort of producer role, if you will. And sometimes they can be wrong, but you know, it's sometimes you've got to sometimes do things that are wrong to actually go, oh right, well I'll do it this way instead, or you know.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I mean, I've worked with the guy who remastered this one for me, Mark. I've done 2 CDs with him and with Chris Hillman, and you know, Mark's an integral, because the nice thing about working with Mark, it sounds like a commercial for him, this is that, you know, some engineers, because it's all like, you know, on a laptop or and they kind of sit there and stare at the screen, and this. Whereas with Mark, he's like, you know...
Oh, Mark Jones.
No, Mark Lewis.
Oh, Mark Lewis. Oh, right, of course. Yeah. The guy from Charlton Country Club.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes,
yeah. And he's great because he's a great musician too. So,
but like anyway, I was just going to say, just like you mentioned though, that not looking at the screen and actually listening to it, you know, that's important. It is, and it's something I've learned recently as well. So just to go, oh, don't look at that. Listen, all right.
Exactly. But actually, we've got to get. Should we talk about you, not me? Sorry. But one of the things I did do, I worked with an engineer a while ago in Spirit in Manchester. And she actually switched the screens off when we were on playback, and I thought that was brilliant because otherwise you sort of bemused by it. And
you're going, what's going on? Yeah,
what's happened that bit there? Just shut up and listen. So, go on, tell me a bit about the Magpies.
So the Magpies started. It was an idea of mine a few years ago.
And where does the name come from?
It's basically, you know, like how people, you know, say, oh, when someone's passed on, a robin comes back. You know, you see a robin. Well, for me, it was a magpie sort of thing. It was that sort of thing, and I just thought, well, the Hiding Magpies. It sounds like the Black Crows. You know,
yes.
You know, it sounds pretty cool. You know,
excellent.
And
I like
so it was. So I thought, well, instead of the robin, it's the magpie. You know, and but yeah, no. So yeah, the band came about. It will have been about. We started in 2017. That's when the album. The first record came out, which I recorded with Ben Gonzalez. We recorded that together with a few guest artists on Adrian, who we were talking about earlier, and Danny Hanley and Barney Williams. So some great guys, you know, some really seasoned professional players. And anyway, gets the first album out, and I'm like, right, well, I best put a band together then, you know, because I'm really enjoying playing these songs. So then I asked, I got the guy who mastered the record, Matt Arnold. He had a brother called Dan, who is now the guitarist, and I'd known that Dan was he'd played in a band called Fruitless Forest, and we played all this lovely sort of you know, he played a Strat, but he played like, you know, all this dreamy pedal steel type stuff in that band, and I'm like, oh well, you know, there's a few songs where I need that pedal steel sound, you know, and I think he's going to be the man, and he covered everything else, you know, so I got Dan together. And then that was it really then. I've already been playing with Shug Spencer in covers bands. We'd done a few rock and roll gigs, and he got Mike in on a few of the gigs, so that's where I met Mike. And so it kind of all just came about through that. And then we had a guy called Ross who played keys originally, who was a great keys player. And then he had commitments with university and stuff, so we were like, that's fine, you know. But I went then scratching my head going, oh, who can we get in the band? And I'd done a few gigs with a guy called Jack Herbert, who's now the keys player, and I just didn't think, because like, you know, when you're looking for it, you can't find it, you know. So Jack he was like, you know, he was sent from the heavens, that boy, you know, because he's got a great voice, so he can harmonise like an absolute trooper, you know, and plays great keys, great Hammond, you know. He's just he's a real gem to have in the band.
Excellent.
So as they all are, they're great. I love playing with them.
What about you're we talked before a little bit about songs, and you were saying about, you know, when the first girl has broken your heart, that's something to write about. I mean, what about a song that you can do for us and that has a story to it? A specific story.
A specific story. All right. So this song I'm going to play for you now is a bit of a slow one. It's off our first record, and it's a song called "I Can't Win." And for so long, we lost someone in the family, and I were just like trying to like sort of do everything to try and avoid the actual sort of situation of, you know, the you know. So I kind of I got so long, you know, so far, if you will, and then I just hit a brick wall and was like, I need to deal with this, you know. So this song's about that, and about sort of kind of, you know, sort of not in a self-critical way, but sort of like an understanding of like, look, it's okay, you know, sort of thing. You can, you know, everyone can hit a brick wall in their lives, you know, and it's important to acknowledge it and work on it, you know, and build. So this song's called I Can't, I Can't Win, but it's in a more of a positive light though than it is a negative. So so it goes like this. Hope you enjoy.
Brilliant.
I can't win, so I'll sit this one out. If I don't begin to sort myself out, well, I'll fall like I've never fallen before. I don't want to hit stone cold, so hold me and tell me it's alright. Don't let me go another lonesome night. Oh, I can't put up the fight. When I walk alone. It's always dark when you're on your own, but there's light, and that's one thing I'm sure. Someday, honey, we'll never look back. So hold me and tell me it's alright. Don't let me go another lonesome night. I can't put up a fight. Oh, so hold me and tell me it's alright. Don't let me go another lonesome night. Oh, I can't put up a fight.
There you go.
Lovely, lovely, nice.
Thank you.
I like that a lot. So what's happening with you guys at the moment then?
Well,
You're locked down like the rest of us, I know that.
well, we've recorded our second record, as say, before Christmas and into the new year, just before lockdown happened, and so anyway, we're currently having that mixed at the moment from a guy called Mark Jones over in Oslo Twizzle, who's worked with some great names from Peter Gabriel. He told me only the other day we're working with Pharrell Williams, and I'm like, what? This is insane. I know.
That's impressive.
But he's really good. He's really good, and he's a really lovely bloke. And so we're having the record mixed at the moment, and the tracks are coming back, and it's sounding great, really exactly to what we wanted. And so we've had that. We did a little show the other, like a filmed recording. I was at King George's Hall the other day in Blackburn. There's a record company in Blackburn, Darwin, and they organised it with, you know, the people who own King George's Hall, and they got a load of bands in, you know, obviously not at the same time, and it was great. It was really good fun. So we've done that, and then we're just working, you know, like we're figuring out with the promotions company we're working with what are going to be the radio songs, and you know, so it's all just kind of, it's ticking away, but you know, but for you know, for so long we were just like, they're nothing, you know. But we've all tried keeping each other's spirits up, and you know, and you know, God bless the guys for it, because they, you know, they've really kept my spirits up, because I like to work. I like to be proactive with music, you know, because I'm something I'm passionate about, and you know, and especially with the original stuff, you know, it's like, I want to get out on the road and play it to strangers, but you know, obviously that's you know, not on the cards at the moment. So we've just been putting things in place for when that time comes, we can all do it again. You know, go back to playing shows. You know, it'll all like sort of, you know, sink into one.
It'll be ready.
Yeah, it'll all be ready. Yeah, we'll come back fighting fit. So
I think that's one of the things that I've spoken obviously to a lot of people about this, and one of the things that's quite a sort of common thread is the fact that because at the moment we can't see an end to it. It's not like, you know, okay, going to a retreat and you've got like 5 or 6 days, say, you know, and you're just going to sit there and write music, and which, you know, at the end of that, then you can go back to the normal world.
Yeah.
With this, it's like, oh, well, when's the normal world coming back? And as a consequence, there's no rush.
No.
And in a sense, there's no incentive either.
No.
I mean, I have to say, I thought at the beginning, oh, this will be all right. You know, I don't have to worry about anything else. I can just concentrate on music and just write music and record music and stuff. And I found it incredibly difficult, to be honest.
Yeah.
Well, like yourself, I like to write the songs, but then I like to perform them. And okay, doing it like this is okay, but it's not quite the same, is it?
Well, no, you know, like this is the thing. We'd all love to be in the room with the band and have a you know, room full of people watching and enjoying the music. And I think I totally agree with you. You know, for the first few weeks, I was like, I kind of like this, you know, because you know, in the Hiding Magpies, you know, I booked the gigs, you know, and it's, you know, that's it. You know, calling people back and forth, it does, and this is why, you know, for the first few weeks I was glad of not having to be on the phone ringing people, really, and emailing and this, that, and the other,
and not getting any replies.
Well, that's pretty much the case a lot of the time. Unless you've played the venue, you know, a handful of times, you know, then you know they'll graciously have you back. But when you know, like I would try just before lockdown happened, I was trying to get us a gig in Brighton, and you know, you call them up and and it's like, you know, can you call back at dinner time? The promoter's going to be in, you know, we'll have a word with him then. Great, call them back at dinner time. He's not there, you know, and it's like you're back and forth, and you sometimes you feel like you're chasing some of that isn't there. But so for a few weeks of, you know, the first month of lockdown, I was kind of like, oh, this is great, you know, take the weight off my shoulders, running about for everyone, and I can just you know, relax. But then afterwards, I was like, right, okay, right, this is getting a bit alien now, you know, like, what am I supposed to do, you know? So, you know, my wife kindly, you know, we had a little bit of money saved, and my wife kindly said, well, buy some recording equipment and get some demos, you know, get some ideas, and, you know, so that's, for me, that's what's kept me going, really, and having frequent conversation, regular conversations, should I say, with the guys out of the band and family and stuff on webcams like this, you know. It's but it's, for musicians, I think it's extremely hard, because, or anyone who hasn't been to work for nearly 5 months, you know, it's been so alien, and I really hope that next year we can see you know, the turning point for it all.
Yes, I think we all hope for that. I'm not terribly confident about it, to be honest.
No.
Because this is, you know, it looks like it's going to come. We're going to get another spike back, and. But anyway, let's not talk about that. we'll come back to that later. What about you've mentioned Tom Petty, obviously. You mentioned the Byrds. What else do you listen to?
Man, I was listening earlier on to a fellow friend, a guy called Mike Ross. I've just been listening to his stuff just this evening, and but in general, on a general day-to-day basis, I will listen to. Today I had Beatles for Sale album on whilst we were tidying up, and what a record, you know, like the song Every Little Thing she does, you know, oh man, it's just that song, it's genius. So I love the Beatles. I'm a huge, you know, Beatles fanatic, if you will. So yeah, there's Tom Petty. I listen to him on a daily basis. I need my fix from him, because this is the thing. He writes songs that I can relate to in my personal life, and like for example, another one like that is Ryan Adams. I like a lot of Ryan Adams stuff. And I have to for music. For me, music has to be like it has to have a hook and something to draw. It has to have something that draws me in. And it sounds a bit of a snob thing to say, does that? But otherwise, I'm just
listen to some of your stuff on Spotify stuff, and that's one of the things that struck me. In fact, it's. I was listening to. Do you know Robbie Vincent from Liverpool?
Yeah. Great singer-songwriter.
Yeah, and his stuff is so hook line based.
It really
and
is.
They're good.
Yeah.
It really is. I mean, it's very.
It
well
reels you
put
in.
together.
Yeah, well, this is it, because like some days I can listen to, I listen. Some days I can listen to Terry Reid or Led Zeppelin or some band like that or some artist like that, and then other days, then I'm like, I need a bit more acoustic stuff, so I might listen to Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, or something like that, and like Deja Vu album, it's just magical. And every time I put it on, like I've got loads of vinyl here, and every time I put it on, I go, this is great. Why can't I write a song like that?
The thing about Graham Nash is that apparently when he first went to the States and they started working, they couldn't get over his harmonies. They couldn't understand where they were coming from.
Yeah,
because he has a strange voice.
He does. It does.
It's not a normal harmonising sort of voice, really.
No. Well, I was listening to one of his solo records earlier this evening, and his voice is so it's that high tenor, like a McCartney for that. Like McCartney can do all that sort of thing.
Yes.
And for so many years, I thought I'd love to have a range like that. And you kind of just, for me now, I'm just like, I'll work with what I've got, But but all them sort of guys, like I love, and Graham Nash, there's some fantastic footage of the Hollies in Abbey Road Studios, and they're playing on a carousel, which is just a genius of a song, and they're all stood around this one microphone, and it's like, and Graham Nash is right up there, and you're going, oh my god! But like you said though, they couldn't understand like how does it sing so high? Where what a genius!
And his harmonies are odd.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they kind of they resolve, but they're not obvious harmonies to go for.
No.
If that makes sense.
No, yeah, of course, yeah. Who is it? David Crosby. He's like a George Harrison for that, because he sits in between everything so well, but you won't think it'd work, that harmony. And George Harrison was very much like, if you listen to the track "This Boy" by the Beatles, it just sits right in there between Lennon and McCartney, and you think, and then you take his vocal out, his harmony, and you listen to it and you go, what the hell's all this about?
Well, you've made my mind up as to what we'll listen to tonight while we're having dinner, so I think it deserves to be revisited. That I have to say, I watched what's it called yesterday?
Yeah, the film. I tried watching it the other night and I could not get into it. I thought the acting was shocking.
It's
that's only my opinion,
No, I know what you mean. Actually, it's kind of it's
very
of
forced.
amateurish.
Yeah, it's very forced.
Amateurish in many ways. I have to say I quite enjoyed it. But it's classic feel good ending type.
Of course,
thing.
Well, this is the thing,
everybody's happy.
Well, this is the thing. If it hadn't been for the Beatles, and it's been said a million times, and it'll be said another million times, but if it hadn't been for the Beatles, there wouldn't be, we wouldn't know music as it is today. They've really set that benchmark for everyone, and even to bloody, like hip hop. Like for example, these, the way chords might move in a hip hop song. I'm sure the Beatles had influence somewhere. So it's
the funny thing, there is a. I know I've mentioned this before. There's a guy called Nick Cohn who wrote a book called Wop Wop a Loo Bop. And he says that the Beatles are one of the worst things to happen to popular music.
Right.
On the basis that the Beatles were so good that after that, popular music became serious.
Yeah. Yeah, I see his point.
Up until then, this is something I feel quite strongly about. Up until then, songwriters and performers were two different groups of people. Frank Sinatra didn't write songs.
No.
Elvis Presley didn't write songs.
Didn't write songs, no.
Yeah, and they were two different groups. And it was the Beatles who came along and said, well, we're going to do our own. Because if you think about it, the other sorts of people in the 60s, like Carole King, they were songwriters originally. Working in the Brindle Building, sitting in a closet every day with a piano trying to write songs, and then they came to other people.
Yeah.
And then they came... I was going to say came out of the closet. That's probably not what I mean. But you know what I mean? Suddenly they sort of, released them to the world.
Yeah, of course they did, yeah.
And it is... But the other funny thing I come across a lot is that... sort of talking to young people playing guitar, and they say, well, yeah, I want to play in a band, but I can't write, I haven't written any songs. I said, well, do some other people's songs. And there's this almost like a negative attitude to playing covers.
Yes,
become almost like a put down, oh, this is another cover, I'm sorry, this is another cover, which is crazy, because I mean, when the Beatles started off, they were doing all sorts of people's.
Of course, there were Little Richard songs to
exactly,
they were all covering Chuck Berry, the Beatles in Hamburg, they practically were just a covers band, but a very good one.
And that's that. I mean, they weren't old enough to have enough of a repertoire to play for like 12 hours a day or whatever they were playing. To be honest,
well, that's it. But
there is that thing now. It's like, well, I don't Mike nights I've been to, and I hear somebody saying, well, this is one of mine, and then say, well, this is a cover, like apologetically.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah,
just do it, enjoy it.
This is the thing, like there's when I've been to an open mic, so the last few open mic nights I went to at this place in Colne, my friend Joss, we call him J Bear, because he's like big bushy beard and big bloke, but he's a gentle giant. He's great. But anyway, he hosts this open mic night, and we kind of, I used to go down on Thursday nights, but I got to the point where we're like, I'm going to just, brave it and play some of my own songs, and see what people think, and and to be fair, when people. It weren't a proper open mic night where there'd be a few people that would listen, but a lot of the people were just at the bar drinking. Yeah. So you could, I could kind of get away with it. But then, like you said, I'd play a cover because I go, oh, sorry about that. But why? Yeah. Why do we do it? I have no idea. Because like, a lot of the time, it's that first song you played on this chat, bloody great, And if it hadn't been for you saying, oh, this is one of my own. I'd have probably thought, oh, that's a really good cover of whoever. I really like that. So this is the thing. It's as songwriters and as musicians, you've got to take that chance really with it.
Absolutely, yeah.
And if anyone says, oh, well that's all right. Well, it don't matter. You're doing it for you at the end of the day. And I think that's a something I've learnt over the years. I felt like I've tried to impress people. Because that's what musicians do. We all go, oh, well, look at this, not in a snobby way, but we all go, oh, I can do this country band. Oh, great. Wow. But like, I've kind of given up to that because it made me feel crap, part of my language, but it really made me feel rubbish. And I kind of just think, well, if people like it, they're going to like it. If they don't, that's fine. Someone else will like it.
Yeah, exactly.
And if no one likes it, I know I like it. So, sod everyone else. No, I'm only kidding. But but I think it's important when you're writing songs.
You have to do it for your own pleasure. You do. I mean, I always say I've got a very loyal following, and we've been married for some years now. Because that's what it is really. It's because I always know Leslie like them. So that's part of the deal.
My wife thinks she sometimes goes, "Oh God, really?" Like that. With certain songs, I'm like, "Oh, great, thanks for the support." No, she's an absolute genius. I'm a lolly, but there's certain times when she's gone, all right. You need to maybe change that word because she's really into writing and literature is my wife and stuff. So it's I've got to run lyrics by her sometimes. Just go, it's all right. I'm dyslexic, love. Help me out.
Excellent. Go on, place another.
All right. So I'm going to play some songs because our first album's out on Spotify, and you can have a listen to it, and I hope you enjoy it. But I'm going to try and play some newer songs because I really want to, you know, like it's exciting for me to play the newer songs. Just
Yeah.
You know, so this is a song called "It's All a Lie," and I wrote this about there was a lady in a so-called friend in my wife's life, and she turned out to just be a so-called friend and a bit of a two-faced soul. So, but I was the witness. You know, the reason reason behind it is that I was like sort of on the outside looking in. So, and I thought, well, there's a song there. You know, it really, you know. And I showed it to my wife afterwards, and she was like, "Oh, that's actually quite good. Yeah." So, you know. Anyway, it's called "It's All a Lie." Hope you enjoy it.
Brilliant.
All right.
How can you be so poisonous when you treat people like the way you do? Then you beg for their forgiveness. Didn't you ever learn in school? You grab people by their soul. Yet it's so easy for you to let go. Don't think you want me over. Oh, because I ain't so. Well, I've been around the block a few times. And well, it's all a lie. Well, it's all a lie. Oh, you once had me fooled. Oh, but you won't fool me twice. Become the kind-hearted people. Oh, and I don't think that's very nice, no. Well, I've been around the block a few times. Oh, and I don't care for it all. Well, it's all a lie. Well, it's all a lie, yeah. How can you be like this with the people that love you? You better watch your step with all you lose. All you lose. Well, I've been around the block a few times. Oh, and I don't care for it all. Well, that's all a lie. Oh, that's all a lie, baby.
Hey, headphones fell off.
Yes, I did notice. I think you're getting too excited.
Well, I just went like that, and they just went. What?
Whoop.
I went no.
Well, you've crept up in.
Oh, right.
You're
All
breaking
right.
up like. You're getting too
All
excited, man. It's the adrenaline, you see. It's
Playing the songs again. I haven't done it in 5 months. It's great.
excellent. Oh, that's good. That's good. So, what about favourite lyrics of when you know other songwriters that lyrics that stand out for you? You think, oh God, that is just awesome. Just a line, a couple of percent.
A line.
Just something that strikes you as being beautiful.
Well, for me, like I've got my wife, Lolly. She, the Wildflowers record by Tom Petty is like one of my Desert Island records, and the title track "Wildflowers" is a line that goes, "You belong among the wildflowers. You belong somewhere close to me," and that. I love that because for me, it's like, like how Lennon and McCartney used to, sort of like, so Paul would write a lyric and it'd be like, oh, I love you and so. But then McCartney would go, Lennon would go then, but do you know how much you hurt me? Something daft like that, and it's like that sort of, that sort of, and that's great, that's, I love stuff like that. But there's, a song called "To Find a Friend" off that Wildflowers record. Maybe that's probably one to have a listen to tonight. It's a real great, it's a stunning record. Rick Rubin produced it.
Right.
Love it. And for me, "To Find a Friend" is just such a stunning song. Like it's hard to, it's probably a bit moody, I suppose, but it's
Moody's good.
Moody's good in the right circumstances.
Yeah.
For me, it's like the Beatles. They've got some great lyrics, like as we were talking about earlier on. Every little thing she does, what a great, just genius, and it's got that. So it puts a smile on your face talking about, that for me when I hear a lyric. And another song, in fact, which really sort of like sticks to me is a song by Ryan Adams off an album called Prisoner. It's a song called Haunted House, and it's just so picturesque. The way you can imagine it, it's like an Addams Family house, and I think that's where we're kind of going for with it. But it's a bit more. There's a bit more sentiment in there, but it's lyric. It's songs like. That really stand out to me, and it's kind of a lyric for me has to hit home. If it doesn't hit home, and if I can't relate to it, then it might as well. Oh, the sky is blue, and I love you, and all that. It's gone over my head at that point.
Yeah.
But
one of my favourites is "The bed's too big, the frying pan's too wide." Joni Mitchell.
Great.
I think that's just beautiful. It's
just,
it's stuff like that. I mean, there's other things that I sometimes hear and I think, why on earth did they write that? I mean, one of my pet hates. I'll share a pet hate with you. Is Toto, Africa, and it's got the line in it about when the sun rises over the Serengeti. It doesn't scan, it's not poetic, and it's just, oh no, guys, please don't do that, please. It's not I mean, they're all great players,
Oh, great,
they're great musicians. And Boss Gags was one of my I love Boss Gags' stuff.
Yeah.
And I mean, Toto was basically his backing band originally. I mean,
yeah.
And like when I listen to something, I mean, one of my favourite tracks of all time is "Lowdown" with Boss Gags.
I don't think I've heard that. Sorry.
Check it out. It's on YouTube. There's a clip of him playing with his band. He's got a club in New Orleans. I can't remember.
Right.
But anyway, it's him playing in his club, and it's a track called "Lowdown," which
I'll be
is
checking that out.
Very, very early albums, but
Great.
It's just awesome.
Yeah,
it's so simple.
Yeah,
and,
well, JJ Cale's like that for me.
Yes,
Adrian introduced me. Our mutual friend Adrian. He introduced me to a track called "Lies" by JJ Cale, which is mid '70s, to late '70s, and he's just singing about this woman who's been with, who's like fooling, mucking him about, but it's like it's so to the point, and I love that about it. There's 3 chords in it. you know, but it's just so simple, but it has that effect. And I think for me, another artist like that is Steve Earle. Like, I'm a big Steve Earle fan, and there's an album called Exit Zero, and there's a song on there called "And the Rain Came Down," and it's Americana poetry, you know, about the words just stand out at you, and he's it's magical, it really is.
and there's so many rain songs, aren't there?
Oh yeah, that's it. But you know, there's a lot of
living in Manchester. I mean, it's
every songwriter in Manchester singing about rain. Oh, you know.
Yeah, a friend of mine's written one, which is actually called "But It's Raining in Manchester."
Brilliant. Want to hear it?
Okay, here's a final question for you on lyrics. Okay. How do you feel about using Americanized lyrics as opposed to anglicized lyrics, in the sense that, for example, I mean, I'm guilty of it. I will say "ain't," which I would never say in normal conversation.
Yeah.
And I'm unlikely to say Ford Escort. I'm more likely to say Cadillac.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Well, for me, it's the old sort of Paul McCartney thing with what he said with his dad, and because my dad used to say this to me, he'd go, I'd write a song, and he'd say, "Why are you using like American, you know, sort of language, you know?" And I said, "Well, it's like the thing, you know, if the Beatles had gone, she loves me, yes, yes, yes," well, it worked, would it? You know,
I like that.
You know, so it's like, you know, so. She loves you, yeah. You know, but she loves you, yes.
Yeah,
it does. So sometimes, and I think because I listen to a lot of, you know, American singer-songwriters as well as I do English, you know, I think you kind of just pick it up without realising. And, you know, a lot of people have said to me, you know, "Oh, you're trying to sound like Tom Petty, or you're trying to sound like so-and-so, you're trying to sound like this." Well, I've listened to these songs. And what I do is, you know, which is not something I do on purpose.
Absolutely,
you know, it's just I absorb all this information, if you will, and then I go right, and then I just play a song, and that's how it comes out. Like, so, for example, for me, you know, Bob Dylan, you listen to his singing voice back in '64 when he was there with Mr. Tambourine Man at Newport Folk Festival. Yeah. And then you listen to his, you know, late stuff like on the album Modern Times, which is towards, you know, only about 10 years ago, that album. And then you go, his voice is completely different. Yes, he's older. But even in the 70s when he were, you know, like, you know, singing Forever Young and songs like that, his voice is completely different to how it were. And I think what he's doing, it's not that he's changing it. He's just going, well, it's how it comes out at the time. Yeah. I sing, from what I've heard back on footage and stuff, you know, and on recordings, I sing quite nasally. And my talking voice isn't nasally. But I think it's something that when I sing, because I'm using my face, you know, so that's why a lot of people have in the past have gone, "Oh, stop trying to sound like Tom Petty, stop trying to sound like Paul McCartney." Well, if I'm singing a Paul McCartney song, I'm going to try and use some of his mannerisms. Yes. Because otherwise, how can, you know, like, I'm not going to go, "Yesterday," you know, sing it like with all this, you know. I'm not going to do it like that. I'm going to try.
Like George Formby.
Yeah, exactly. I probably do, but but you know, I think you just whatever. I know it sounds a bit Hollywood me saying this, but whatever comes out. You know, and I think it's important because people can go, "Oh well, you know, you're trying to sound like this, you're trying to sound like that." So what? Like, I'm not. You know,
the question is, do you like it or not?
Exactly. If you don't, and again, if you don't like it, well then, you know. But you know, there's a song that I wrote called "It's All a Lie." It's All a Lie in the Dirt, and it was about this bloke. It's a bit of a blues song. It's going to be on the new Magpies record, and you know, we played a festival, and he was calling us, you know, this soft country band, you know, and we were like, "Well, look, if you don't like it, fair enough. We're playing at a rock festival, but we're early on in the evening. You know, we had a few, you know, and it's like, if you don't like it, go somewhere else, mate. You know, you know, like I'll take constructive criticism, but it's but when people are just being picky, well, it's not for everyone, and my voice isn't for everybody, you know, and that's fine. sometimes I hate the sound of my own voice. Well,
I think
you know,
also the thing about what you're saying about them not liking it, there's also a sort of thing about, music being dropped into categories.
Yeah.
And, I started off years ago playing blues, and when I was living in Italy, a lot of the stuff I played was blues out there, but a lot of my own stuff as well. But the thing is that I'm too Americana to be a blues singer, and I'm too bluesy to be an Americana singer, So
that's it.
And it's those sort of things. But just the thing you were saying before about "She Loves You," yes, 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 which I particularly like. I was just thinking, what went through my mind is that the first band I played in with Mike, the singer. The first song he ever played to me was called Los Angeles, and it was a lovely song. And but then he tried to develop this thing about trying to un-Americanize his lyrics.
Right.
And there was one that started off with the line, "I got to Matlock just before the break of day," and it just doesn't work, does it?
Before the break of dawn, it's like it's instant.
Matlock,
Matlock, yeah.
It doesn't ring.
To be fair, like I kind of, I've never written a song where I've gone, here I am stood in Nashville, Tennessee, thinking about the bloke I want to be, or something daft like that. I've never put like a foreign place in any of my songs because I haven't been there. I kind of think, well, back to my original point, it's like if I've got something to say in a song, I'll say it. Whether and this is a thing that if you watch the George Harrison documentary, Living in the Material World, Jeff Lynne talks about songwriting and George's songwriting, and he would write a song, for example, if he was in a mood, a grumpy mood, he would write a song and it'd be like, I'm feeling blue today, but whatever it may, but he'd make it into a great song, being George Harrison.
Yeah.
But then if he was happy, he would write a song about, like that last album, Brainwashed. There's some great songs on there, and you can tell is it real in his element. It's a happy album. But this is the thing, though. Like, you write about experiences. For me personally, I've only been to America once, and so I could not say, I was on the highway down in, wherever it may be, I have to, but at the same time, though, I don't think I'd want to write a song about Burnley. I've only, don't get me wrong, no credit, no disrespect to Burnley, but I'm on the M65 heading down to Burnley.
Well, I've done a similar thing, but in reverse, because one of the first songs I wrote in the last sort of 20-year period I've been writing, or 15-year period the first thing I wrote did have an American town in, but the lyric is, "I've never been to Memphis."
There you go. Yeah, great. Well,
that gets me out of the problem. So.
Yeah, I think that's great. And I think it's I think what it is for musicians, and especially songwriters who listen to a lot of American music, we all go, "Oh, it's a dream to be over there," because yes, the UK and England we've brought out a hell of a lot of great music, from the Beatles to the Hollies, Black Sabbath, all these great bands, and artists. But I think we've all, it's funny because there's a band called the Lemon Twigs, who were they're younger. I'm in my mid-20s, and the Lemon Twigs must only be in the early 20s, and they're writing songs and they're trying to sound like the Beatles. But it's funny though, because a lot of American, I've just been listening to an artist recently, and it sounds like it's trying to be like Syd Barrett, Pink Floyd,
right?
And he's an American, but then as a British English singer songwriter, it's like, oh well, we're trying to sound like you guys, and then they're going, well, we're trying to sound like you guys. So it's like, just do it, whatever comes out, and as long as it's not offensive, then
as long as we enjoy doing it and somebody enjoys listening to it.
Exactly, that's what music's about. Music is love, as David Crosby once said.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
mind you, he did also say on their debut, he said, "We're scared shitless." So I think that, another great Dave Crosby quote. It's his first words on stage at Woodstock.
Yeah.
listen, Jake. We could talk all night.
I know, man. I know.
But would you like to do one song to finish off the show for us?
I'd love to. Yeah.
Go on then.
Yeah.
What are you going to do for us?
This is a bit of a silly song about an ex-girlfriend I had who followed me and wouldn't leave me alone after we broke up. So
Right.
it's kind of a funny song. It's a silly song, and that's the thing. It's okay to write a silly song. It doesn't matter. So I am going to take the headphones off because it feels like I'm singing in a sock. But yeah, I hope you enjoy it. It's called Figure It Out. It's off our first record, and if anyone's watching, and you can find the Hiding Magpies on Spotify. And I want to thank you, Roland, as well. You know, I genuinely mean it for, you know, having a good natter, and it's great.
It's a pleasure,
I said on the Facebook page you can waffle on, and here I am. So
I think we're both pretty good at that. Don't worry.
well, next time let's hope it's in person. We can have a conversation and
a beer and a chat.
Yeah, it sounds like a plan. And
sounds like a plan, doesn't it?
Yeah. So
excellent.
All right, stay safe, brother.
Okay.
All right. This one's called Figure It Out.
Nice one.
Girl, why you trying to hurt me so? What you're trying to do is just so low. Everyone around sees that you're the fool. You're gonna run out of road and you don't know what'll hit you. So you think you're being cool, you think you're being smart. Let me tell you, girl, you're taking it too far. Your mind is too young and you don't know right from wrong. Yeah. Well, you'd have thought that now, oh, you would have moved on. Oh, believe me, I've been through some shit. You're just a pretty face that'll never ever get it. And when you do, you'll figure it out for yourself. So you gotta move on, you're dragging me down. You follow me, girl, around my hometown. Everywhere I go, you always seem to be there. Oh, now silly little girls like you just never play fair. Oh, but you won't see the pain that I've been going through. And you are so malicious, girl. It's always been about you. So you gotta move on. You're dragging me down. You follow me, girl, around my hometown. Everywhere I go, you always seem to be there. Oh, now silly little girls like you just never play fair. Oh, believe me, I've been through some shit. You're just a pretty face that'll never ever get it. But when you do, you'll figure it out for yourself. Ooh, yeah, so lately, I've been through some shit. You're just a pretty face that'll never ever get it. And when you do, you'll figure it out for yourself. Ooh, dear.
Hey,
Excellent. Thank you, man.
nice one,
See you.
buddy.
See you
Hey,
again soon.
all the best.
Take
Stay
care.
safe.
Stay safe.
Bye-bye.
Cheers, man. Ah, that was great fun. That was really good. What a good bloke. What a good bloke. Yeah, that was lots of fun, wasn't it? Well, I enjoyed it anyway. I think he did as well. So I think that's the main part of it. So yeah, that's it from me for this week. Hope you enjoyed it. You can find they are Hiding Magpies on Spotify, and look forward to their new album coming out when it's been mastered. So that's it for this week. Let me just have a quick look to see who we've got next week. I think. Let me just see. I should have this prepared really if I was a true professional, but clearly not. Chloe Jones. Next week, Chloe Jones. No relation. And we'll be here at 6:30. And looking forward to it. Look after yourselves. Have fun and stay safe. Take care.